Okay, so we have these two hemispheres of our brain, and there's a beautiful bridge between the two of them. And when we do work with the alternate hemispheres of our brain, in Waldorf, they do it all the time with balls. They like do all this ball work. My kids did throughout their schooling to train the capacity to but both use your body bilaterally in good balance, but also not only the effect that it has on your limbs, like being able to move equally well on both sides of your body, but this cross hemisphere work is really good for your neurological development. So as we age, these things start to decline a little bit. Our balance starts to decline a little bit. All the capacities of our proprioception and sense of balance can start to wane just a little bit as we age. So it's really important for us to work on this skill, to keep the practices of balance alive and well. So I know most people don't like balance poses. Like, it's not your favorite part of yoga. Like, oh yay, today we're going to do balance poses. It doesn't have that quality of flow and peace and ease and like yumminess that some of the other poses of our practice does, but they're very important to do. So if you have a love-hate relationship with balance, just know that you're doing your 90-year-old self a big favor by doing these practices, so that we can stay steady. And besides the balance aspect of it, there's also just that neuroplasticity that happens when we cross hemispheres. So it's really good for our brains in lots of ways. It's good for our balance. It's good for our health. So that's my little motivation speak for trying to do balance, for why to do balance poses, right? So that you don't hate them and you don't dislike me when I tell you it's time to do one. Okay. So today it's not gonna be full balance. We're not gonna just do balance, but we are going to kind of emphasize it like we did yesterday a little bit, so that we keep gaining these skills. The last thing I want to say is, when you move your eyes in separation from your limbs, this is one aspect of balance that's very challenging. So think about being in a tree pose with your palms together and looking up or looking to the side, and how challenging it becomes when we have to turn our head or move our eye position. So that's one aspect of training balance. And then the other is to keep your eyes steady and move your limbs around in different ways. And then there's also ways where you move a limb and your eyes at the same time. So all of these can have subtly different impacts on training your balance skills. So we're going to get into a little bit of that today. All right. So come and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to ground yourself and feel the beauty of this day. Okay, so whatever, maybe you've been outside, it's so green, everything's so beautiful, all the moisture. So let's kind of savor what this time of year brings, what the gift of the rain has brought, and just seek that sense of greening up inside yourself as well, not just outside in nature, but what are you renewing within you with this breath, with each breath? Are you drinking enough water? Just like the earth has had all this quenching, have you been treating yourself to some rain, drinking lots of water? Let's feel the grounding of your pelvis, the openness of your spine and heart, a sense of freedom in your breathing. Melt through your whole skull, the base of your skull, your face, your whole skull. And recognize that there is really truly no such thing as symmetry in the body. Our organs are not symmetrical. Sometimes we have a leg a little longer than another. Sometimes our spine are a little wonky. Sometimes our vision is better in one eye, or our hearing. Sometimes we chew on one side more than the other. We have dominance in one, fine motor skills of one arm than the other. We probably have dominance in the leg as well. If you were to kick a ball, you'd probably kick it with the same leg. So let's just sense into the beauty of the ways in which our body adapts and accommodates asymmetry. And then, even though we are not symmetrical, let's see if we can come into the midline awareness and just sense balance, which is different than symmetry sometimes. We can have different things going on one side or the other, but we can sense into how to uh, orient the two sides together. Okay, so feel into your midline. Maybe start with the crown and just drop down into the third eye, or feel the center of your brain. You have a lot of midline structures in your body, so there's a fascial sheath in the center of your brain. Let's sense into that. Some of your very vital aspects of your brain are at the midline. And traveling down, maybe feel softly between your eyes, sensing in to the centeredness of your nose and the structures, your sinuses in the kind of behind your nose, behind your cheeks, down to your palates of your upper and lower palate. Even though our teeth may not be the same on either side, sense a balance between the two. Maybe your jaw joints don't feel the same, but you can feel a balance. And then we have this beautiful midline structure of our spinal cord. So let's just feel our way into the spine and the vertebrae. Notice all the winging out from that center, your ribs moving away out from your sternum, and your ribs moving out from your vertebrae, your collarbones moving out from that center, your shoulder blades kind of nestling bilaterally, that sense of equality between your arms, your hands, the weight of your hands on your legs right now. Feel your way into your breath, and even though your lungs themselves are not symmetrical, you have one extra lobe on one side. Let's see if your breath can feel a sense of balance between the inhale and the exhale. Traveling down to your pelvis, feeling a grounding, maybe even sensing where your pubic symphysis, where your two pelvic bones come and join at your pubic bone, your pubic symphysis. It's actually a joint. All the way down through your legs, which, get a little confusing with the midline when you have crisscross. And when you're ready, place your hands together at the center and feel into your energetic midline as well. We've kind of scanned the body, but now scan the energy body, which also can have some asymmetry. We think of the chakras, the main chakras, as being centered, but of course, our energy bodies can be, asymmetrical, just like our physical body. Let's see if you can sense into that midline as best as you can. Breathe away from the center, breathe back toward the center. Soften your gaze toward a center point behind your lids. And let's offer an intention here. Maybe kind of go broadly in the balance realms. What do you need a little more balance in your life? All right, and then release your hands. Okay, let's come to our back. All right, so as we come off of our seat and onto our spine, see what you can do to practice the art of noticing your midline. There'll be things that we do that are very symmetrical, and there'll be things that we do that are very asymmetrical, as always. So just notice yourself in this way. All right, let's stretch our arms overhead and enjoy right side and left side, and just notice the reaching. And already this is a little bit of left to right hemisphere work. Just imagining that uh, you can reach evenly with your arms and with your legs. And then pause in a cactus arm and just notice whether this feels symmetrical or not. Can you get the weight of the back of your hands onto the ground evenly on your two sides, or is one not quite as settled as the other? Notice the shape of your shoulder blades in this position. Do they feel the same? Or does one shoulder blade feel higher up toward your ear or further out away from your spine? Just pay attention to your bones. And then relax your arms down, and let's bring our knees into our chest. And when you first bring your knees into your chest, notice your sacrum, notice your hips. Are they the same? Or do you automatically hike one hip a little higher toward your shoulder? Do you have a pattern there? Okay. When you hug your knees in, do they both hug in the same depth? Or do you have a little restriction in one knee or hip that doesn't allow you to compress as much? Just try to pay attention today to the very subtle ways in which we have asymmetry in our body. We've got a lifetime of patterns that have etched themselves in our movement. Okay. Let's hang on to the knees and circle. Go the way that you don't normally go first. All right, and just notice. This is a pattern too. I never say go this way or that way first, but you have a pattern of spinning your knees one direction first. So just pay attention to that pattern that you have in your body. And patterns are good. Patterns switch directions. Just because you notice that something's more dominant, don't worry about that so much. Our body is efficient because of dominant patterns. So we just want to make sure that those dominant patterns don't get so extreme that they hinder our capacities. All right, let's open up our knees away from the middle and bring them back in. And notice here, do your hips do the same thing? Do your legs move the same way? Or are you noticing some differences in the way your hips move or your knees move? And try to honor the lifetime of little injuries or big injuries or strengths that you've cultivated or skills that you've cultivated in your body. It's all showing up. The body keeps the score. There's nothing in our body that's hidden. It's a map of our entire life lives in our body. So just see what you're noticing on that tapestry. All right, right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's roll around in your ankles and move about in your feet. A nice good squeeze. Even in our yoga practice, we get habituated. I almost always say right leg first. Why? I don't know. That's just the way I was taught. So I'll try to switch that up a little bit in our practice today too. Draw your left knee in and move around in your ankles. Okay, roll around. Notice if there's differences in how your feet move. And then stretch open to a star and seek some symmetry here, even if, of course, you notice something different between your two sides. Enjoy that expansion away from the midline, and then enjoy the compression toward the midline as you bring your body into a ball. One more time, expanding away. Exhale, drawing in. Let's do it once again. Expanding away. What are you noticing? Exhale, drawing in. Put your feet on the ground, arms out to the side, and let's windshield wiper your knees left and right. And again, you may notice that you twist differently. I definitely notice that I can turn in one direction more than another direction. So just pay attention. How does your body like to move? Right. Let's go ahead and roll to our side and come up to our hands and our knees. And as you find your way onto all fours, let's celebrate the fact that we have these limbs that can bear our weight. Okay, so rooting through your hands, rooting through your legs, and let's do a little yielding practice here. So moving toward your left side, let's sink a little bit down into your hand and your knee, and then push off and sink over to your right side. So we're just noticing weight bearing through one side and then transferring past the midline to the other side. Let your shoulder, elbow, hip, all those extra joints receive the yield. All right, so we're not stiffening, but we're letting those joints actively absorb some of the pressure. And then are you like my whole body's shifting a little bit, I'm feeling my weight really move. So I'm moving past the midline a little bit. I'm kind of rocking left and right. And this subtle rocking is also just one of those aspects that are really good for your brain. You may think, what am I doing here? I'm just, rocking from side to side. Rocking's really good for you. Okay. All right, so now ground through your hands and your knees. And let's start to move through some cat-cows. Sense your midline. Okay, see if you can lean into the energetic and physical midline. As you breathe, open up. Notice movement. And you may notice as you do this, as you broaden your awareness away from the midline of your spine, you might notice that you tend to bear weight more in one knee or one hand. You might have your shoulder blades in slightly subtly different positions. Maybe your pelvis isn't quite straight. So just notice these little subtle things. And then come to a neutral spine and start moving your tail or moving your ribs or moving your head any kind of direction that you want to move. And notice if you feel patterned, if you're doing a circling, notice if you tend to go in one direction first habitually. Okay. If you were to have a hula hoop, I guarantee you'd have a pattern of which way you'd spin that hoop. Okay. If you were to do anything that you've learned in your body, you'd have a pattern for it. So notice that. And then when you're ready, stretch your body down to a child's pose. And when we're here, pay attention. Do you feel symmetrical in this pose or no? Do you tend to lean into one hip, one knee, one foot, one shoulder? Try to kind of tease out these subtle discrepancies that you have. Sometimes they can be very, very good clues to why you might be having a pattern of discomfort or tightness or pain in your body. Let's walk the hands over to the left side of your mat and feel that reaching of your rib cage as you drop your hip down. Open up one side. And then come back to center. Open up the other side. Notice if your hips go down the same distance when you have one side versus the other. All right, let's come back to center. Come up onto all fours. Wiggle your spine around. All right, and let's start with the left arm, reaching that arm up in the air. Exhale, drop that shoulder down to a twist. Finding your breath. Twisting the spine, relax your neck.
Open up the base of your skull a little bit, breathing deeply. And then when you're ready, go ahead and come out of that pose. Reach that arm back to the sky. Hand down onto the ground. Let's switch sides. Arm up. Exhale. Down you go. Is this the same? Do you have the same capacity for twisting on this side as you do on the other? Breathing deeply. And then inhale, reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Let's find a dog pose. All right, even something as simple as the way you find yourself in this pose. Do you always kind of set it up the same way? Okay. See if you have symmetry or if you tend to lean into one side of your upper body or lower body. Drop some weight into your hands and your feet and feel free to pedal here, dropping one heel down, dropping the other. Notice if you can go the same distance of that dropping of your heel, or if you have tightness more on one side than the other. Breathing well. And so integrate. So feel the hugging toward the midline now. Hug your hands a little bit toward the midline. Hug your feet toward the midline. And then keep your hands grounding neutral and drag your feet. Don't move them, but just pull them apart away from the midline. Trying to light up some of those stabilizing muscles in your legs now. Breathing deeply. And then walk your feet forward. Do you always take the same foot forward as you begin that move? Okay, so just try to pay attention. Feet on the ground, bend your knees, relax your skull. Even here, can you notice if you have one hip that pushes back toward the wall behind you or up toward the sky? Just pay attention. Inhale for a halfway lift, opening up through your spine, feeling the reach, femur bones up and back, spread open the bones of your feet. And then exhale and melt to fold. Relax your skull again. Push through your feet. Inhale, rising up, bringing the arms to the sky. And then trace down through the center line of the body. And again, just feeling into your midline. Land with your hands at your heart for a moment and just enjoy. Okay. Enjoy your balance on 2 feet. Unlock your knees and start to feel into your yielding. Breathe into the belly, breathe into the pelvic floor. Get your legs to ground. Feel into your roots. Now, I know each and every one of you have had an injury, some of them significant. So let's notice how our body and have a deep appreciation for how our bodies have adapted. Okay. Even when things are no longer, the same as they once were, can we just appreciate how much we're constantly seeking adaptations? All right, take a deep breath in, reach your arms up, open up through your heart, and then exhale and lower your body back down. Inhale for a halfway lift, feeling that extension in your spine. Melt to fold again. Step back to dog pose. Before you go, which foot do you always take back first? Try to take the other one back. Feel your way into that long spaciousness. A deep breath in, a deep breath out. Feel the natural tendency to just observe symmetry in a pose like this and how soothing that is for your brain. Come forward into a plank. Again, you might notice something different between the ability to push through your hands evenly, to stretch through your feet, to feel your core engage evenly. Full breaths here. And then we'll put our knees onto the ground and find the earth. Roll the shoulders a little bit. And take a deep breath in, a cobra pose. Exhale, melting back down. One more time, rising up, and melting to fold. Come into child's pose. Take your time, do a little movement of your spine before child's pose. That helps your spine. Melt the center of your forehead into the ground. All right, let's lift all the way up into a dog pose again, feeling that extension. Let's pull your feet, drag them, ground your feet, your toe beds, and drag them apart from each other and feel that lighting up of the outer hips. Feel the lift of your sit bones, push off your hands to feel that extension. And then again, try to step forward with the foot you don't usually bring forward first. Spread open the bones of your feet when you come into Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. The spine is gathering some length. Exhale to melt. Come on up. Bring the arms to the sky. And then trace down through the center again. Enjoy your midline. So what a beautiful thing to just have this centering. Okay, we're gonna come into feet hip width apart. Come into a chair pose with your hands down on the outer knees. Okay, push your outer knees into your hands. Push your hands into your knees so that you have this sense of nothing's moving. Spread the bones of your feet. Lift your chest. Lift your chest a little more. Lift your chest a little more, and reach this into a chair pose. Ground through your legs. Drag your feet apart on the ground. Notice if you can feel all those outer hip muscles starting to turn on. And then inhale and stand all the way up onto your toe beds. And just notice, how do your feet handle being on your toes? If this is not good for you, that's okay too. And then release your heels down onto the ground. You can hold on anytime through the practice today. Always balance poses can be supported. Okay, so but we're going to just rock on our feet here for a moment. So coming up onto your toes and back, calf strength, both your gastrocnemius and your soleus, the muscle underneath your big calf muscle. Really important. Ankle mobility and calf strength, really important for your ability to have good balance. So let's just kind of wake up some of these muscles. Notice if you have dominance on one side versus the other, if there's a sensing of, you prefer to be in one foot or another. All right, and then ground through your legs and just let blood move all the way down to the soles of your feet. Take a deep breath in, reaching the arms up. Exhale, lowering to come back down. Inhale for a halfway lift, extending through your spine. Melt to fold again. Let's step our right foot back. We'll start with our left foot in front. Come to a lunge. Opening up through your heart space. Let's start to move. Squaring the hips, straightening the leg a bit, and bending it. It's just moving your way through your practice. Even though we're asymmetrical in our legs, can you feel a sense of symmetry through your not symmetry, but balance through your midline? All right. Let's go ahead and ground our feet well. You can always take your left and right foot wider out to the left and right if you need it. Feel your roots. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Reaching the arms to the sky. Now lift your front heel off the ground and just beyond the toe beds. Just practicing a little bit different of a challenge. And then put that heel down and find the ground of your full foot again. Look straight up toward the sky, keeping our body nice and neutral. But we're moving our eyes, moving our head position. Look down at the ground. And now we'll move both eyes and arms, twist to the left. Turn your gaze all the way. Turn your head as best as you can, your eyes too. Hug to the midline, so find those eyes on the front of your hip bones pointing forward. And then follow your gaze all the way back up, bringing your arms to the sky. Turn and open to the side of your mat. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Ground through your legs. Okay, and now the same thing is going to happen here. We're going to lift our front heel up off the ground. Okay, notice your calf muscle. Drop your shoulders, gaze out over your fingers, and then put your whole foot down. Follow your hand, reverse your warrior, look up at your hand. And then follow your gaze back, hands to a normal Vira 2. Straighten your leg, turn back to the front of your mat, dog pose. Feeling your way into that extension, breathing deeply. Let's bring our right foot forward. Come to a lunge this side. Round your legs. Now there's something settling about knowing where we're going. We've already done some poses on one side, and chances are we're going to do the exact same thing. So let's just notice how our brain settles with that. Okay, let's go ahead and bend and straighten through your front knee. Breathing deeply, fully. Ground your legs, feel some roots. Inhale, rise up. Bringing the arms to the sky, crescent lunge. Find a gaze spot. That drishti is important. And let's lift our heel up off the ground. Stabilize with your core. Find your breath. And we'll go ahead and put that foot down onto the ground. Look straight up. Find your breath again. And then look straight down. Pick up your head and we'll twist to the side. Let your gaze follow that back arm. So turn your head, turn your gaze. Breathing deeply. All right, follow your hands. Reach your head up. Look at your hand as it spins back to come into Virabhadrasana 2. And then look forward to your front leg. Come into Vira 2. Okay. Arms straight out to the sides. Once you gather your positioning, let's lift your heel off the ground. Front heel off the ground. Find your breath. Gaze out over your fingers. Breathing deeply. And put your heel down. Find your full pose. Full breaths here. Tracking that knee over your ankle in line with your middle toes. Let your gaze follow your reverse warrior. As you lift that arm up, let your gaze follow. And then follow the hand. Bring both hands back down. Bring that foot back. Dog pose again. Feeling the extension in your body. Breathing deeply. Full breaths. Enjoy the symmetry. Enjoy the 4 points of contact. Enjoy the breath. Enjoy the inversion. All right. Come forward into a plank. And let's lower our knees down to the ground to find the earth. Okay, take your arms out in front of you. A little cross hemisphere work here. Lift the left arm and the right leg, feeling that crossing of our physical energies from one hemisphere to the other, one leg, opposite arm. Exhale, bring it back down. Switching sides. Finding your breath. All right, and then relax. Now you can always do this with your arms down at your sides. If the arms overhead is not feeling so good. And let's go ahead and do it a little bit more rapidly. Up, and then up, and then other side. Okay, so just kind of going back and forth using oppositional limbs. All right, relax. Come up on tall fours. Move your spine about. Breathing deeply. Coming back to a child's pose. Open up your spine. Okay. All right, let's sit on our bottom for a minute. You can get on the edge of a blanket if you'd like. Okay. We're going to have our feet straight out in front of us. Okay, so let's just activate our feet a little bit. Turn the bottom of your feet to face each other. And then turn the bottom of your feet to face away from each other. And look at your legs and notice if that inversion and eversion is symmetrical on your two sides, or if you have more range on one side as you go back and forth between your bottoms of the soles of your feet looking at each other and then turning away from each other. Ground through your feet. Let's have a neutral position here. Draw your pinky toe side of your feet up toward your outer hips. And you might even get a cramp in your hips. There's a lot of muscles that are in charge of, this stability in our hips. Okay, and then relax that. Now, I think you guys have done this with me before. Let's start this with our right hand. So we're going to we'll do this just with the right side of our body first. So we're going to draw the number 6 in the air with your right index finger, okay? And we're just going to keep drawing the number 6. And if that's too hard, just circle, but going in that same direction that you would draw a 6 with. So I guess that's counterclockwise, right? So our foot, on the other hand, our right foot, we're doing this, with your right hand first. So that means I have to do it with my left hand first, which is making me already confused. So counter, spiral, we're going counterclockwise with the spiral with our index finger, and we're going clockwise with the spiral of our right foot. Okay, so see if you can do that at the same time. Okay, it's harder. Go slow. I like to start with my foot and I, do the circles with my foot. And it's amazing how difficult this is. Okay, you're automatically are going to want to keep doing the same pattern. Okay. All right. Now we'll do the opposite side. Okay. So now we're still drawing the number 6 with our left hand, left index finger, and you can decide whether you're drawing the letter 6 in the air first and then moving your foot. But imagine that your foot's going in the opposite direction of your finger. Okay. So this is harder than it looks. So don't be afraid if my foot, the minute I start to do the spirals with my hand, my foot wants to change directions. So notice if you have that same feeling that your hand and your foot want to do the same thing. Okay, so this is just an example of how difficult it is to, pat your head and rub your belly kind of thing. That's, I think, easier than what we just did. So be okay with it, but also practice little things like this throughout your day so that you notice that you can change and break some patterns in your body. Okay, let's come up to stand. Breathing deeply. And ground through your legs. Feel the roots of your feet. A full breath in. A full breath out. We're going to take our feet a little bit wider to the edges of our mat, maybe even just slightly off your mat. You decide how wide you want to go. Come down to a squat. Hands on the outsides of your knees. Push again like we did earlier. Ground the inner feet. Don't let them lift. Root the four corners of your feet. Push your knees into your hands. Hands into your knees. And then relax. Inhale. Come all the way up. We're going to do 3 squats. So put your feet in your favorite squat position, maybe a little turned out. And when we're going to go super slow, so when you come down, notice if you tend to lean into one side or the other. If you have injuries or histories in joints, that might be the case. So let's try to go slow enough where we can accommodate. Use your core, use your leg muscles, your hamstrings, your glutes, your quads, everything's working together as you slowly come down. Try to find a sense of symmetry. You don't have to do your deepest squat in the world. Come up to stand. Twice more. Nice and slow. Try to seek the balance. And if you have, a knee or a hip or an ankle or a shin bone or something that's just disturbed, it'll show up sometimes when you slow down and pay attention. You can kind of sense, oh, I am weaker there. I need to strengthen that little piece. Okay. So notice, are your hamstrings even in their strength? Are your quads, your glutes, is everything activating at the same time? All right. I think we're ready for a balanced pose now. So feel your roots, stand in Tadasana, finding your breath. We're going to come into tree pose. And remember, your toes can be really low, your foot can be higher. We're going to stand on our left leg first. We always do the right foot first. So stand on your left. And your foot can be high, but it doesn't have to be high. It can be lower. Just don't let your heel be at your inner knee, anywhere but there. Okay. All right, so find your breath. This hip, we've woken up all these stabilizing muscles. Hug that left hip in and unlock your knee. Use your glutes, use your hamstrings. Feel your squaring of your chest. Reach your arms up. Now we're going to challenge our balance a little bit with our vision. With your arms up, look straight down. And then slowly look straight up. Okay, we're going to keep the left arm where it is. The right arm's going to come out to the side. Follow with your eyes. Inhale, follow with your eyes. Arm back up. Other side, left arm out to the side. Follow, turn your head. Follow with your eyes. Inhale, coming back up. And then we'll lower back down. So it's challenging to add these layers of eye and head movements and arm movements that are asymmetrical. So have a moment to just enjoy the groundedness of your legs, breathing deeply. This is the part where you just get to come back into enjoying instead of feeling like there's a lot of concentration and effort. So if you were able to do that, notice if you were breathing or if you held your breath. If you're a little wonky with balance, you can do this close to something so that you have a support to touch and release from to help your balance. And anytime you do balance poses, especially when you're moving your head around and your eyes around, it's challenging. So let go of the expectation. We're just in the effort and we're letting go of the results. So if your balance falls apart, just put your foot down and start over again. There's nothing egotistical about having good balance. It's the process that we're looking for, not the product. Standing into your right leg, root, hug your hip in, lift that left foot up, put your knee, anywhere but your heel at your inner knee. Guys, anywhere at all, just not heel at inner knee. All right, open up through your chest. Let this left knee open up and draw back. Right hip is in. Integrate. Unlock your standing knee. Feel your shoulders and ribs square to the front, reaching your arms up to the sky. Melt the base of your skull here. Now slowly look down. Okay. And then slowly start to look up. Make sure you're breathing. Hold your steadiness in the support of your core or your legs. And if you lose your balance, it's okay. Come back to neutral with your head. We'll start with our left arm. We're going to turn our head, look up. Whoop, I'm losing my balance. You're going to look up at your hand for a moment and follow that arm coming out to the side. What? And then lift that arm. Follow with your gaze back up. And I just lost my balance. And this is typical for me that I'm less able to balance on this side than the other. So just notice if that's the case for you. Okay. And now we'll go with our gaze to the other side. Okay. So finding your breath. We're going to follow the eyes over as we bring our hand over to the other side. And then reach your arm back up and put your 2 feet down onto the ground. And just pause and relax. 2 feet on the ground. What a gift to have these 2 feet. Big breath in. Big breath away. Inhale your arms all the way up. And then bring them back down. Last of the balance poses. We'll stand rooted into our left foot again. Very simply, we're going to bring our right knee up. We did this yesterday. Okay. So standing on our left leg, draw your hip in, unlock your knee. Feel the reach of your spine, arms coming up. Steady yourself, and then very slowly, we're going to turn our head and open up to a twist. Follow your gaze to your back arm if you can. Use your core. Standing leg is strong and steady. And then turn your gaze back to the front. Reach your arms up. Look up. And then put your foot down and relax with your 2 feet on the ground. So notice if you're not breathing. Try to steady yourself into your breath. Who cares if you fall down? I fall down all the time in these, challenging things. It's okay. That's part of the process. If you're gripping and tightening and not breathing, but you're staying upright, I'd much less prefer that versus finding fluidity and breath and the constancy of adapting to the change, falling, coming out, and keep repeating, than just getting stuck and solid and immobile. So our balance really comes from adaptability, not from rigidity. Okay, rooting into our right foot now. Lift your left knee. Okay. Challenging your balance. I know somebody who brushes their teeth every night, and when the ding on their toothbrush, the automatic ding, if you have one of those electric toothbrushes, they switch legs. Okay, so feel free to incorporate some balance into anything that you're doing. If you're, taking a walk, pause for a moment and just find this kind of pose. Okay, reaching the arms up, feeling that extension, hug into that hip. Let's twist. Let your gaze follow all the way to your back arm. Breathing, relax the shoulders, turn your eyes all the way. Okay. And then turn your gaze back, reaching the arms back up, but down onto the ground, fold forward, Uttanasana. Relax your neck. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melting to fold. Last dog pose. Enjoy the symmetry. Enjoy the sense of ease that this pose has available in it. Full breaths here. And then let's come into a child's pose. Just enjoy. Notice how close to the ground you are, how nice that feels. All right, grab a blanket if you need it, pigeon pose. Let's just stretch open that hip that worked so hard for you. Left leg first. Find any support that you need. Breathing deeply. And then relax your way down. Now notice when there's no longer that balance challenge, when our head can rest on a block, when our arms are down, when we feel a deep sense of grounding, notice how good this feels after kind of precariously being up in the air. Let's enjoy the grounding. Let your nervous system melt into that. Find our way out. And we'll switch to the other side. Right leg is in front, squaring the hips. Adjust anything that needs adjusting for a good healthy pose, any support that you need, and then we'll find our way deeper. All right, we'll come out, belly pose. Come on to your back. Draw your knees into your chest and breathe. Right, so a simple twist, but we're going to add a little piece onto it. So you might need a block handy. We're going to lift our hips, scoot them to the right, knees come up, drop them left, twisting open. Turn your head all the way the opposite of your knees. And now we're going to straighten the top leg. So you can either put a block underneath your foot, or you can hold on to the big toe or somewhere along the leg. So just kind of find your ability to be here and move your right hip away from your shoulders, stretching some of those outer hip muscles that worked so hard for us today. And if you found any discrepancies in your body, if you notice like, oh, my hamstring gives way when I try to do that, or I notice that this side is stronger, these are really good things to pay attention to and start to notice. And if you start to notice where weakness or lives in your body, you can do something about it, which is nice. All right, back to neutral. And let's scoot your hips over to the other side. Knees come up, drop right. Turn your head all the way to the left. Big breath. Enjoy the twist. All right, and then let's straighten that leg. You can hold your big toe, hold the calf, put your foot on a block, whatever feels good. Move that left hip away from the shoulder. Come back to center. Neutral legs, maybe a happy baby, maybe a Supta Baddha Konasana. Just find something that's symmetrical for a moment. And then straighten your legs, maybe a little support underneath your knees if you need it. And bring yourself into the ease of your breath. Allow your body to really drop. You know, it's very tiring to do the neurological work we did today. So enjoy the ease in your nervous system. Melt all your limbs as best as you can. When you feel ready, start to deepen your breath. Maybe a gentle bit of movement in your body.
Actually finding your way to your side. Come up to sit when you're ready. When you get here, take your time to again kind of seek the midline of your body. Bring your hands together at your heart. And let's offer the gifts of our practice, our adaptability, our sense of deepening of awareness of ourselves. Let's give those gifts to another. Namaste. All right, thank you, everyone.